Welcome back to Cozy Discoveries, where we turn thrift store finds into gorgeous home decor on a budget. Today I'm sharing my latest Goodwill haul and also transforming 6 budget-friendly finds into beautiful spring and cottage decor. So let's get to thrifting. We are headed to the Goodwill, and they are having a sale today that if you are a rewards member and you spend $10, you get 10% off everything that fits in like a bag that they have. Oh, good night. I always have trouble with cards. I can never pull them apart. Do you struggle with the cards too? And I just found a loose cart, and now let's head on back towards the home decor. Okay, my first stop is at the lamps, and I am looking for a lamp for my buffet. And I don't see one that I'm in love with, but I do see one that I like. So I went ahead and picked it up and figured, you know what? I can figure out if I really want that one later. You know, I really like that small little riser, but it came with a bench, and I already have a bench, so I had to pass on that. I'm always on the lookout for candle holders or bases that can be made into risers, and so I'm taking a look at this gold one, which kind of has like a bamboo style to it, but it was really quite flimsy, so that one was also a pass. As we're looking around, please let me know if you see something that you would have picked up or if I missed something, because I want to learn from you. So this set, which has the ceramic dishes as well as these awesome wicker holders, was really adorable, and it was about $9.99, and so I didn't really need it right now, so therefore I passed. But had I had a booth, I would have purchased it, because I think that could have been flipped for a profit. This birdhouse is super cute, and I decided, you know what, I have a birdhouse at home and I got it for free. So for that reason, I passed. And this Noah's Ark was so cute, and I collected Noah's Ark when our son was young, but he is all grown now, so I had to pass. So excited to find this milk glass pedestal piece, but as you can see, it's broken. And then I came across this. It is a sweet wire dress form, and I just loved the nature of it. I don't even know what it's used for. I think it's sculptural. And so I put that in my basket, and then I saw this beautiful bird cage, which I loved. Okay, so we're back, and guess how much I bought? $0. We even went to another one. So I know I put things in my cart, but I don't know about you, but then I re-review and think, oh, am I gonna really need that? Or is that really what I want? And so I didn't end up buying anything today. However, I do have an incredible haul for you from the previous times I went to Goodwill's. So they had this beautiful wooden candle taper, and so this was $3.99. I got this little like a Pyrex dish. I love anytime I find these small dishes, whether they're round or they're oblong like this, I try to pick them up if I can get them for $2 or less, because I use them not only in crafting, I use them in cooking, like to make salad dressing. I mean, just so many uses. Also, when I was there, it was $4 and half of that, so $2 for 2 of these plates and 2 of these coffee cups. Aren't those so gorgeous? So let me show you how I zhuzh these up and styled these. So I am creating a nest in the middle of the plate, and I am using some wired burlap ribbon to go ahead and create the form of the base so that I will be able to tuck that moss into the base and form the nest. And now I am adding some eggs to the nest, and these are from my stash. The ones that have the burlap wrapped on them, I just hot glued that into place. And to now make the base, I'm going to use the cup as the base. And so I'm applying a little bit of hot glue because I do not want this to be permanent. I want to be able to move it around and use it again. So I am only utilizing hot glue, and this is how it turned out. And this is how I styled it up. And look at that sweet little bird in the basket too. Let me show you how to make that as well. It's a little basket that I got from the bins. If you missed that haul, I will link that in the description below and at the end of the video. And I'm just following the same method. I'm adding the ribbon as stuffing. I put down some of that grass, and now I'm just adding some sweet little Easter eggs that I rolled out of some air dry clay, and I am dotting them with a permanent marker. Now I'm grabbing a little bird out of my stash. It has a little wire on him, and I'm going to go ahead and wind that around the top of the basket and then use a tiny dab of hot glue to hold him in place. I got these frames. So I love this frame. Look, it has like a little bit of gold in it. This was $3.99, but I love this frame. And then I also got this giant frame. It's really heavy, this one right here. And this one was also $3.99. So that's kind of surprising that an 8x10 insert was that inexpensive. So I am going to zhuzh these up, and let's work on these next, and then we'll start. So the first thing that is always necessary when working with anything from the Goodwill is to clean it. And so I've gone ahead and wiped it all down with a Clorox wipe, and now what I want to do is go in and clean the glass with some Windex. What I want to do is to tone down some of this gold and really the silvery tone on here. And I want it to be able to coordinate a little bit better with the other frame as I will be displaying them together. And so what I am using is some antiquing wax from Waverly, and I'll put a link to it and all the other supplies or similar supplies that I'm using for my projects in the description below. And I'm going around and applying the wax, and then after doing a section, I am just dabbing it off with the paper towel, and then I'm going to repeat that process for all the segments of the frame. And then I'm going to go ahead and let that dry overnight, and I'm going to come back in and do a second layer of that antiquing wax and let it dry. And the reason for that is I still thought too much of that silver was shining through. And here is how it looks after the second coating of that wax. I love the way it looks. It looks so rich, right? And now we're ready to go ahead with the next part of our project, where we are going to use music paper to create a backdrop on the picture frame. And I have some vintage music paper that I picked up from a thrift store, but you can use any kind of music that you have, or you can go on to Graphics Fairy and print out some music paper for free. Again, I'll put a link to that in the description below. I'm using the back of the frame as a guide for how big I should be cutting my backing paper, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply glue to that and attach the back of the music right onto that paper. And then I realized it would be easier to see the music if I just flipped it over and went ahead and put the backing paper on top of the music. And then I'm just cutting around that and cutting it down to size, and I'm ready to put it in the frame. I give it a quick peek to make sure that it looks nice and straight, and then I go ahead and secure it in place by flipping all of the little latches that it has to keep it closed. The next step is to go ahead and attach a burlap bag with hot glue onto the glass of the picture frame. And I did make it a little bit shorter by hot gluing the bottom up, and also tied the string so that it would create a little bit of a gather. And now I'm just filling the pocket with some greenery as well as some lavender from a little mini candle wreath that I had in my stash. So this is how it turned out. I love it. And I also wanted you to see that this is how the bunny turned out. And that bunny is just a free picture that I downloaded from Graphics Fairy. And I used the exact same steps that I did in creating this one with the lavender with the music as the backdrop. A special shout out to Ginger Chick Rehab for the inspiration for this project. And that I want to share with you this week was this pillow. I love these pillows. Again, feather down. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it is so beautiful and perfect for spring. And so I've got this, and I'm going to just put that on my couch. Let's head on over there now. For our final project, number 6, we are going to transform this neon green metal watering can that I hauled from the Goodwill bins last week. We are going to be adding a dry clay molded object to it. So I am going to put a rooster on the front and some flowers on the back. I am starting off by painting the mold with some cornstarch, and that is so that the item will release easily. Next, I'm taking some air dry clay, and I'm just using the Crayola brand. You can use any kind of air dry clay that you like, and I am massaging it in my hands. You basically want to warm that up and then press it on into the mold. And then you're just going to peel away the excess clay, and then also I am just using a little scraper tool to take off even more of the excess just by going around the edge of the mold. And I'll repeat this for both of them. Now comes the fun part when we get to demold the items, and you can see they are coming off so easily. And then I'm just going to use my little scraper tool, which you can use a knife or even your finger, to remove any of the excess clay. And now we're going to go ahead and take that one, and we are going to attach it to the watering can. And you want to do this before it is dry so that it is still pliable and can bend around the object that you want to put it on. And I am using some Gorilla Glue to go ahead and attach it to that. You want to go ahead and let that sit and fully cure up and dry. Okay, here is a tip. I turned my watering can over and I tried to apply these beautiful roses to the other side. But when I did that, because I didn't wait for it to dry, I smushed out all the details in that chicken. So I had to unmold that and then redo that again. So make sure you let it dry overnight before you apply a second mold onto the other side, or even before painting. It's the next day, and now we're gonna paint these with some Rust-Oleum flat or matte enamel paint. And my sweet husband is doing the honors of going ahead and spray painting this for me. You can see those molds are stuck there on the side, and he gave it a light thin coat all the way around, waited for that to dry, flipped it over, and painted the bottom. All in all, it took 2 coats of paint. And now here is what it looks like. And you can see that beautiful mold on both sides. And now I'm going to get some white chalk paint out and I'm going to give it 2 coats of chalk paint. And I'm just using some Waverly brand Snow White chalk paint. And after I gave it that coat while it was still wet, I went and got a damp cloth and I'm doing something called wet distressing, which is I am trying to remove some of the paint, especially from the figure and also around the can itself. Next step is to seal up that chalk paint, and I'm using some clear wax to go ahead and coat the whole watering can. And I'm also using this as a barrier because I do want to put a little bit of dark wax or antiquing wax to bring out some of the detail in those molded items even more than they show up right now. It's the next day and now we're ready to apply a little bit of that antiquing wax, and I am simply taking some of that wax onto a paper towel and I am just using a dabbing motion to get it into the nooks and crannies of the molded items, as well as by creating some additional texture on the watering can. And now it's all dry and we're ready to go ahead and fill this sweet watering can up with flowers. I am using some hydrangea flowers that I got from the Goodwill bins before, and I am just spreading the white ones apart so I can add the green one into the middle. And that is just to make it look like these flowers are all kind of growing together. And once I did that, I noticed, there are some spaces around the sides. So next I am taking those little boxwood stems that I hauled last week from the Goodwill bins, and I am adding them into the sides of the arrangement. I'm going to put them on the front, the left, and then also in the back center. Look how pretty that turned out. And now let's go and style it. And here is a final look as to how I ended up styling 2 areas of my home with these incredible projects that we did together today and last week. So let me know, which is your favorite? Thank you for coming back, and if this is your first time visiting my channel, I'm so glad that you are here. I just really appreciate everybody's support for week 1 and making it such a success. And let me know if you end up going to thrifting and you come home with nothing. So thank you so much for spending time with me today, and I hope your day is filled with cozy discoveries. Bye-bye.